Hello friends, today's lecture is based on Selaginella life cycle part 2nd. This part 2nd lecture includes the spore producing structure, strobilus of the Selaginella, then microsporophylls, megasporophylls, microsporangia, megasporangia, microspores, megaspores, their germination, male gametophyte, female gametophyte, then the structure of anthridium, archegonium, their sexual reproduction and alternation of generation. So we are begins with the reproductive structure strobilus. Number Point number 1, the spore producing structures develop at the apices of the branches. Apices means at the apex, at the tip. These spores producing structure called as the strobilus singularly and plural strobili, and this strobila or strobilus develops at the apex of the branches. Branches means stems. Okay. Number 2, the strobilus is compact structure of sporophylls. This strobilus is made by the sporophylls, and when this strobilus is young, the sporophylls are compactly arranged. Number 3, the sporophylls means what? Spore producing leaves are called as the sporophylls. Number 3, the sporophylls are quite similar in structure so that of ordinary vegetative leaves. These sporophylls are typically green in color. They are leaves-like so that they look like a vegetative leaves. Number 4, each sporophyll bears a ligule at the base. The one outgrowth is also present at the base of the sporophyll, that is the ligule. Okay. Single stalked sporangium situated in the axil of it. See point number 4. Each sporophyll bears a ligule at its base and single stalked sporangium situated in the axil of it. You know that these sporophylls are arranged to the axis or centrally located strand present in the strobilus, and these sporophylls are arranged to the central axis. Okay, and in the axillary position of that leaves, the sporangia are present, and the number of sporangium is the single. Okay, and they are stalked structure. The sporangia are two types, that is microsporangia and megasporangia. These sporangia are two types. Some are structurally smaller, called as the microsporangia, and some are structurally larger. They are called as the megasporangia. Number 6, the sporophyll that bears microsporangium is called as the microsporophyll, and that bears megasporangium is called as the megasporophyll. As you know that the spore producing structure called as the sporophyll. Suppose that sporophyll produces the microsporangium called as the microsporophyll, and suppose produces the megasporangium called as the megasporophyll. Okay. Number 7, in majority of species both micro and megasporophylls are born in same strobilus, but in some species occur in different strobilus. So there is somewhat variation in producing about the micro and megasporophylls. Okay, in some species micro and megasporophylls are present on the single strobilus, and in some species they are present on the different strobilus. Okay. Number 8, the sporophylls are always spirally arranged on the axis of the strobilus, but in a very much condensed form, and these sporophylls are arranged to the centrally located axis in the spiral form, and they are very compact in young condition. Number 9, the megasporophylls are found in the lower portion of the strobilus and the microsporophylls in the upper position of the strobilus. When you see the single strobilus, at the base the megasporophylls are there, which produces the megasporangia, and the tip the microsporophylls are there, they produces the microsporangia. Now the sporangia. Point number 1. Sporangia means spore producing structure called as sporangia. Number 1. There are two kinds of sporangia. The sporangia with megaspores called as the megasporangia, and sporangia with microspores called as the microsporangia. Number 2. Both mega and microsporangia are stalked. These megasporangium and microsporangium having the small stalk, with the help of that stalk they are attached to the sporophylls. Number 3. In both the cases, the wall of the mature sporangium is two-layered. Both sporangia is the two-layered means bilayered, means their wall is made by two-layered. The outer wall of the layer is composed of thick-walled columnar cells having the chloroplast in them. The outer layer is made by thick-walled columnar cells. Columnar means column-like arrangement of the cells is called as columnar cells, and they having the chloroplasts. The inner layer of the wall composed of thin-walled cells. On the contrary, the inner layer is the thin-walled. Number 4. Just beneath. Beneath means just below. Just beneath the two-layered sporangial wall, there is a nutritional layer called as the tapetum. Below these two layers, there is another layer which is called as the tapetum, and its function is it is a nutritional layer. So its function is to provide the nutrition to the spores, megaspores and microspores. Number 5. The matured microsporangia are red, yellow or brown in color. So these are the colors of microsporangia. Number 6. Each microsporangium consists numerous microspores. Single microsporangium produces many microspores. Number 7. The megasporangia are pale or whitish in color. So this is the color of megasporangia. The megaspores found within the megasporangium are either pale or yellow. Again, megaspores color is also same like the megasporangia. Number 8. The matured megasporangium is four-lobed. There are 4 lobes or 4 chambers in the single megasporangium. Each lobe bears a single megaspores. There are 4 lobes in the megasporangium, and each lobe produces the single spores. Means what? Single megasporangium produces the 4 megaspores. In case of microspores, many microspores produces by the single microsporangium. On the contrary, the single megasporangium produces only 4 megaspores. Number 10. Each microspore remain covered by 2 spore coats. This microspore again is the two-walled. There are 2 coating of the microspore. The outer is thick and ornamented, okay, and known as exine, whereas the inner wall is thin, known as the intine. So these are the 2 protective wall of the microspore. Number 11. The shape of each megaspore is tetrahedral. So this is the shape of the megaspore, which is the tetrahedral. Number 12. The triradiate mark or ridge is found on each spore. The triradiate mark or ridge occurs on each spore. Now you see, these are the diagrams or photographs shows the strobilus, microsporangium, megasporangium, then microspores and megaspores. You see in the diagram, photograph number 1, in first photograph, A diagram is there. A diagram is nothing but the tip of the branch, tip of the axis. The tip of the axis at the base, there are the green leaves, and at the apex, the compact arrangement of leaves, they are that is nothing but the strobilus. Okay, and this strobilus, at the tip of the strobilus, microsporophylls are there. At the base, megasporophylls are there. So you see in the diagram, The seed B diagram having the single microsporophyll, and at the base of the microsporophyll there is the microsporangium, and macrosporangium produces many spores. And in C diagram there is a single megasporangium. At the base of the megasporangium there is a small stalked megaspore, and this megaspore produces the many many sorry B diagram is megasporangium diagram. They produces the 4 megaspores, and is in C diagram, this diagram is the diagram of microsporangium. It produces the many microspores. So this is the difference. You see, this is the longitudinal section, means LS of the strobilus. In A diagram, at the apex all are microsporangia in the axillary position of the microsporophylls or sporophylls. Okay, there are three pairs of the microsporangia, and at the base there is a single pair of the microsporangium. And in the B diagram, toward the both sides, in the first 3 pairs there are microsporangia. At the base, toward the left side single microsporangium, and right side there is a single megasporangium. Sorry. In C diagram, you see toward the left side all are microsporangia, and toward the right side all are megasporangia. So that the arrangement of megasporangium, microsporangia, they shows lot of diversity according to species of the Selaginella. You see in this third photograph, A diagram is there. A diagram is nothing but the diagram of the microsporangium, which contain the many microspores. And in B diagram there is a single in B diagram megasporangium is there, and single megasporangium produces the 4 megaspores. Okay, in this way these are the three photoplates shows strobilus, microsporangium, megasporangium, microspores and megaspores. Then gametophyte. Gametophyte means what? Gametophyte means gametophytic generation, gametophytic plant body. Gametangia producing plant body is called as the gametophytic plant body. Gametangia means what? Male and female reproductive structures are called as the gametangia. Singular gametangium. Male gametangium is the antheridium. Female gametangium is the archegonium. Okay. See diagram, point number 1. The spore is the mother cell of gametophytic generation. Why called as spore is the mother cell? Because in pteridophytes, when spore germinates, either microspore or megaspore, after the germination of spore on the soil, on the earth, the prothallusis develops, and that prothallus is nothing but the gametophytic plant body. Okay. Suppose microspore germinates, produces the male gametophyte. Megaspore germinates, that is the female gametophyte. Okay. So that in pteridophytes, spore is always mother cell of gametophytic generation. Point number 2. As mentioned earlier, Selaginella is the heterosporous. Heterosporous means what? In its entire life cycle, it produces the spore. Their structure is more than one. Means they produces 2 different type of spores. How we can separate these spores? In pteridophytes, some spores are smaller in size, some are larger in size. Smaller considered as microspores, larger considered as a megaspores. Okay. Selaginella is heterosporous and produces 2 types of spores, the smaller microspores and the larger megaspores. Okay. Number 3. Megaspores develops into male gametophytes, and microspores develops into male gametophytes, and megaspores develops into female gametophyte. Male gametophyte, what is the function of male gametophyte? They produce the antheridia. Female gametophyte, they produce archegonia. So that antheridium produces the male gamete sperm, archegonium having or produces female gamete egg. The sperm is always motile because it is a flagellated. Sperm contains the single haploid male nucleus, and the female gamete egg contains the single haploid female nucleus, which is the non-motile structure, so that sexual reproduction takes place in between the male gamete, means sperm produces by the antheridium, with the female gamete present in the archegonium, that is the egg. So in this way zygotic condition is formed. Number 4. In Selaginella, both microspores and megaspores begin to germinate while still inside the sporangium. Thus, spores are shed at multicellular stage. So it is very interesting thing. Generally what happen when spores are liberated from the strobilus, from the cone, from the sporangium, from the sori, they will settle down on the suitable substratum. Under favorable condition, they absorb the moisture and start germination. Okay, but in case of Selaginella, some different mechanism is there. When spores are present in the sporangium, at the same time, before the liberation, the spores start germination and they are multicellular in the germination stage. Okay, in the Selaginella, microspore, megaspores are germination. Their germination is takes place. Still, they are present in the sporangium. Number 5. The male gametophyte contain single antheridium having 4 central primary. The male gametophyte contain single antheridium. Okay, single antheridium produces by the male gametophyte, having 4 central primary androgonal cells. 4 centrally located androgonal cells are there. Androgonal cells are nothing but sperm mother cells, antherozoid mother cells, spermatozoid mother cell, male gamete mother cell. Divide repeatedly, forming a mass of 128 to 256 antherozoid mother cells or androcytes. And these androgonal cells goes repeated cell division and produces 128 to 256 cells. Each androcyte metamorphoses into a spindle-shaped biflagellate antherozoid. Okay, and single androcyte converted into single antherozoid or single sperm, and so that 128 to 256 sperms are released by the single male gametophyte or single antheridium. Number 6. Archegonia develop from the apical tissue of the female gametophyte. Okay, archegonia develops from the apical tissue of the female gametophyte. The mature archegonium has 2 cell long neck. Neck is the upper part of the archegonium, which is the 2-celled. Then neck canal cell, a venter canal cell, and the egg. These are the parts of the archegonium. Now see in these photographs, the first diagram shows the male gametophyte, antheridium, and the sperm. Okay, in A to B means A and B diagram having the young gametophyte, and in this, and C is nothing but the mature gametophyte having 128 to 256 cells, and D is the antherozoid or sperm. So in this way, male gametophyte, the C is the matured gametophyte, or that is the antheridium, and which produces the sperms. So many biflagellated sperms are developed by the male gametophyte. So this is the diagram of the female gametophyte. Female gametophyte, at the tip of the female gametophyte, archegonia are there, and single archegonium is given in the F diagram. Okay, the neck is there, venter is there, venter contain venter canal cell, neck contain neck canal cell. At the base of the venter there is a egg cell, and mouth of the archegonium is covered by the cover cells. Okay, now the next point is the fertilization and embryo development. Number 1. Just before fertilization, neck cells of the archegonium separate from each other and form a passage for the entry of antherozoids. Okay, the next cells of the archegonium, they will be degenerate and form the mucilaginous substance, and the entry of sperm in the archegonium is possible. Number 2, after liberation from the male gametophyte, antherozoids swim in rain or dew water and reach the archegonia. Okay. Number 3, usually one antherozoid enters into the archegonium and fuses with the egg to form a diploid zygote. Okay. Number 4, a diploid zygote is the mother cell of sporophytic generation. Okay. Number 5, in further developmental stages of zygote, a multicellular embryo is formed. The multicellular embryo is formed from the diploid zygote, and mature embryo form the new individual sporophytic plant body of the Selaginella. Okay, zygote, multicellular embryo, then next sporophytic plant body. So now the alternation of generation in the Selaginella. Okay, first is the vegetative reproduction. Sporophytic plant body, diploid, fragmentation, dormant buds, bulbils, tubers, they causes the vegetative reproduction in the Selaginella. Okay, now the sexual reproduction. Now the sexual reproduction begins with the sporophytic plant body, which is the diploid, which produces the strobilus, which is the diploid. Strobilus produces the megasporophylls, microsporophylls, diploid. Megasporophyll produces megasporangium, microsporophyll produce microsporangium, both are diploid. Megasporangium contain megaspore mother cells, microsporangium contain the microspore mother cells, both are diploid. Meiosis takes place, reduction division, so that megaspore mother cell produces the haploid megaspores and microspore mother cells produces the haploid microspores. Megaspore germinates, produces the female gametophyte. Microspore germinate, produces the male gametophyte. Male gametophyte produce the antheridia haploid. Female gametophyte produce the archegonia haploid. Antheridia produces the antherozoids or sperms. Archegonia produces the egg. Both are haploid. Antherozoids are fuses with the egg present in the archegonium. Fertilization takes place. Diploid zygotic condition is formed. This zygote goes in the cell division, produces the embryo. Okay, again embryo diploid, and embryo produces the young sporophyte, which is the again diploid, and young sporophyte produces the matured sporophytic plant body, that is the again diploid conditions. So the sporophytic plant body in the Selaginella is the diploid. In this way, here our presentation is over. So this is the reference book I have used while preparation of my PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.